Hey there, it's time for the show, the Tatiana Show, where you make friends and talk life and crypto. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Tatiana Show. This is an episode that's a compilation of a couple different things. Number one, I speak with Gabriel Kurman from Latin American Bitcoin Conference, and we talk a little bit about what's going on down in Uruguay this week. So if you can make it down last minute, the conference is this week, LABitConf.com. You can also watch it online. You can see all the information that you need. And then also I am doing an interview with a new friend that I made down in the Bahamas, David Skarica, and you can listen to both of those. They're coming up next. And also make sure you go to www.crypto-cares.com and you can come and join me in the Bahamas January 5th to the 12th, with the main event being on the 10th. We're doing live music, Bitcoin 101 training, and a lot of interaction with local charities, helping out where we can, teaching people about crypto and letting them know that crypto cares. So go to crypto-cares.com. Tickets are affordable. If you can't afford the ticket, ping me and I can make an exception. But we're also looking for sponsors. So if you are interested in coming down to the Bahamas in January, please let us know. And thank you once again for listening to thetatianashow.com out on Tuesdays. And check out proofoflovecast.com on Fridays, where you can get to the softer side of crypto. Okay, take care. Thanks, everyone. Bye. Hello, everybody, and welcome to this special segment of the Tatiana Show, where I'm talking with Gabriel Kurman, my friend down from Argentina. But we're not going to be meeting in Argentina. We're going to be going to, I think, the 6th LABitConf in Montevideo in Uruguay, where I've never been before, but I'm very excited to be going. Is it the 6th one, Gabriel?
I think it's the 7th.
Wow, lucky number 7. I like that.
Yeah, so it's been a while, right, since the beginning.
That's what I was going to say. So we first met, I think, at the very first LABitConf, when Bitcoin had just gone over $1,000. It was very exciting back in December of 2013. But a lot has happened then with the conference. And, I know you guys have some special activities planned for everyone this year. Can you tell me a little bit about what the evolution has looked like and what has that culminated for this year's schedule?
Yeah, sure. I think something very interesting about LABitConf is that gives everyone who participates the perspective of Bitcoin and blockchain technology in general from the Latin American eyes. The Bitcoin revolution is completely different when you are in a country with 50% inflation or even hyperinflation, as we have sadly in Latin America. So, over the last 7 years, the Bitcoin ecosystem has grown nonstop in the region. And you have some of the most interesting startups and projects and communities coming from Latin America. And this has been growing year after year and conference after conference. So it's really amazing to see the evolution and how this group, or family as we call it, has been grown over the years, and everyone in the world and the region is welcome to join LABitConf and this community.
Yeah, it's very welcoming there. That's one of the best things about the conference, is that it sort of feels like, you're coming into family. What are some of the people going to be talking about this year? Do you have any kind of talks or presentations that you're really looking forward to?
Yeah, so the agenda is it's amazing. We have Adam Back, we have Eric Borges, we have Andreas Antonopoulos coming, among with other 90 to 100 participants that are going to be presenting either in lectures or in panels. We have the most important mining pools also coming to the conference, several regional projects presenting their solutions, the real life applications. We have, as always, BitGive and Blockchain for Humanity, and a special part of the conference dedicated to all the projects using blockchain technology for social impact. We're also going to be sharing time with La Bitcoineta, which is this project that takes the LABitConf spirit to every corner of Latin America in this minivan that travels and presents basically Bitcoin and blockchain technology in high schools and small cities around the region. So yeah, millions of interesting presentations to listen to, and also the LABitConf experience and all all these activities outside the conference that Rodolfo takes a lot of time putting together to make sure that, when you come to a special country in Latin America, it's not only to listen to a very interesting conference and presentations, but also to get a feeling of what the country is about, what the local communities, and make sure that, after LABitConf passes by one of these countries, the local community gets enhanced and it's stronger than ever. And we're seeding, the seeds for the Bitcoin ecosystem to grow in every single country when we do a LABitConf.
Excellent. Do you guys have like regional speakers or anything? And is there a discount for people who are on the ground versus people coming from out of town? Because the tickets are usually pretty affordable. What can people do to get tickets? Do they still have seats?
Yes. So we have lots of regional speakers. We have major CEOs and founders of exchanges around the space coming. We have the RSK team, of course, it's also participating. The Reef team, we have in Zeppelin, it's coming. I don't have the list of speakers in front of me, but if you go to LABitConf.com, you will see the long list of local and regional entrepreneurs also participating. There are some interesting use cases in Uruguay as well, being developed by Infui and some other local partners, which will also be sharing those presentations and examples. I think there's a lot of real life applications using blockchain technology in Latin America. And this is something that we're going to be very proud presenting and sharing with the community. What Bitcoin and blockchain are in Latin America is actually real use cases and, having real impact in the users, which is what drives us doing all this effort. And back to your question about the tickets, there are a lot of special discounts for students and people that cannot afford the ticket. So the idea here is that no one is left from the conference because they cannot afford the ticket. So if anyone that is listening to your podcast would like to participate and for some reason they cannot afford the cost, they should definitely contact us. There's also live streaming for everyone. So all the content is available for free through the YouTube channel of LABitConf. So, we definitely do this in order to reach people and to spread the word and to make sure that this magnificent content that is available in the conference reaches everyone. So yeah, tickets. I mean, the whole conference is not for profit. So we try to do it as low cost as we can. But still, if someone cannot afford the cost, they should contact us because no one should be left out from LABitConf because of the cost of the ticket.
That's awesome. And I'm really glad that there's a live stream because not everybody can make it down there. But if they want a preview of what a LABitConf experience is like, they can watch it on YouTube. One more time for the audience before we wrap, where can people find out more information? What are your socials? How do people get involved?
Yeah, so in Twitter, you can find us as LABitConf and on the internet in our website, www.labitconf.com. It's LABitConf, labitconf.com.
Excellent.
Or through Tatiana. I mean,
that's
you're part of the
true.
family, so they can just reach out to you and we'll make sure we take care of them for sure.
Absolutely. Are we doing any karaoke this year? Because usually that's one of the fun things. Oh, okay.
Of course. I think you started the whole music movement of LABitConf. I think it was back in 2013 when you did your first concert, no? And since then, it just grew year after year. And now the karaoke is a must. So we have a live band karaoke every year, and really looking forward to singing some songs with you. Just a warning for the audience, we are not as good singers as Tatiana is, but we do our best anyways.
Yes, well, I'm sure it's going to be good. Everybody sounds awesome after a few glasses of wine, so we're all going to have a great time. Everybody, please support the event, spread the word if you can't be there. This is a non-for-profit event, so we'd love to see you there in Montevideo. Thank you so much, Gabriel, for joining us today, and we'll see you next time at thetatianashow.com.
Thank you very much, Tatiana. See you soon in Montevideo.
Cheers.
This episode of The Tatiana Show has been brought to you by eToro.com. You can trade in a wide range of assets, connect with the crypto community, and automatically copy top-performing portfolios at eToro.com. Quite simply, they have the top currencies, smart tools, low fees, social trading, all in one simple app. They facilitate over $1 trillion in trading volume per year globally. eToro makes powerful trading tools easy. Get started in minutes right now at eToro.com. That's eToro.com. Hey everybody, welcome to the Tatiana Show. I'm here with my new friend Dave. We're chilling down in Eleuthera. I am going to introduce you to him in just a moment, but I want you to understand why am I here with this beautiful background. Look at that. Not bad, right? So I'm here because we're doing recon for, well, I'm doing recon for Crypto Cares. And I met Dave the other day, and he's a Liberty lover. He's already familiar with Bitcoin, and I guess you're a trader. Why don't you tell the audience who you are?
Yeah,
you have a lot of different things you're doing.
I'm going to tell a story right after I tell them who I am.
Okay,
because it's funny
that's
when
good.
we first met, right?
All right.
Anyhow, so I write a newsletter called addictedtoprofits.net. And I do a lot in venture capital. I raise money for like mostly, I've done some crypto stuff, but I'm mostly into mining, especially gold and precious metals. So, and I live here. I'm from Canada originally, and I got sick of weather, taxes, etc. And now it's even gotten worse. I don't need to do a huge rant about that. But yeah, so then I moved down here. I moved to the Bahamas in 2005. Then I moved to Eleuthera in 2012. And actually, funny, Eleuthera, I told you this the night we met.
Don't get out of frame. They want to see you, buddy.
Okay. Eleuthera actually is the Greek word for freedom. Mm-hmm. And there's not a lot.
Yeah, isn't that cool?
Yeah, there's not a lot of rules here. Now, in terms of day-to-day life, maybe you shouldn't say this. You can drive around with like a beer in your car, no one cares, and
we don't recommend that you do that.
Yeah, don't do that. Yeah,
we would never recommend that kind of thing.
But yeah, of course not. But anyhow, so I moved here and I just like the kind of vibe. The expats are kind of funky. It's a lot of kind of ex-hippies, and there's a surfing
it's an
beach
interesting crowd here, that's for sure.
Yeah, a lot of leftovers who probably did too much acid in the 60s.
Okay. It happens.
I'm not that young anymore, but I'm the young guy on the island, definitely with that crowd. But anyhow, so yeah, like I said, I write addictedtoprofits.net. I've written a few books. I do a lot of technical trading. I raise money for companies, and with internet, you can just do it from here. And like I said, the weather, the tax structure is actually in lifestyle is to me all a lot better than Canada. And the quick story we're going to tell was that she asked me where I was from, and I said Canada, and I could kind of tell she was biting her tongue. And I was like, look, I'm the least least patriotic person in the world. I don't care about that country at all anymore. And then she said something negative about Trudeau, and I was like, yeah, I can't stand that motherfucker. Sorry. But yeah. So
I guess this will be an explicit episode. That's fine.
Sorry about that.
Problem.
I don't want you to get demonetized.
No, I don't care. Nobody's monetizing anything on YouTube anymore.
But anyhow, no, that's it. So, and we started talking about actually freedom and libertarian, and then I told her I liked Ron Paul, and you told me that you did concerts for Ron Paul and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, that's how
you're never supposed to talk
together.
Politics right away, by the way.
I agree. I did think of that, actually. I was thinking these poor people, they're like, well, I'm not libertarian, forget these losers. But you shouldn't forget us, because we're nice people, and we're all for lots of different options for people, and one of them is Bitcoin. So my mom has a house down the road. She just built one, and my stepdad, he's had a house down here for a while. And last time I was here, I went and played some music at this place called Champions.
Yeah.
And it was really fun, and I started thinking like how you could bring Bitcoin to the island. And then I was introduced to this guy, Ryan Austin, on the island, who's been teaching kids how to code.
Oh, I know Ryan. Yeah,
oh, you do? Oh, yeah, he's super
Small
cool.
Island.
Yeah. He's on Brie Island, which is Harbor Island.
He runs that coffee place too, right?
Yeah.
See, there you go. Small. It's small here.
The
whole island has like 12,000 people. So think if you were from a small town, and that was the whole place. So that's what it's like here.
Yeah, it's really like very family feeling. I don't know. You get to know everybody really well, and it's a kooky little family. So Ryan has been teaching kids how to code. He made this initiative all on his own. He's like buying kids their laptops for them. He teaches them. And so I wanted to help him raise some money for some laptops. And then we're partnering with some local charities here. We're still confirming the details. So see the links below because they should confirm today or tomorrow. But yeah, we've got a lot of initiatives around environmentalism. We are working with Bahamas Plastics charity for sure. We confirmed that yesterday. But basically what we're trying to focus on is environmental impact, hurricane relief, because, Dorian ripped through not Eleuthera's badly, but other islands. There's a lot of displaced people. And just like tech for kids and kind of giving support services for the youth here.
Well, actually, just on the hurricane relief thing is there's an organization called Head Knowles, which is kind of the lead organization. So I'll throw this out there if it's okay. But I raised a bunch of money for them. And I have, with my publication, I tell people if they donate $1,000 to Head Knowles, I give a lifetime subscription to my publication.
Oh, okay,
so that
cool.
helps out the people. And the thing I like about Head Knowles opposed to the Red Cross, not that they do bad work, is that it's like a local organization. So they don't have the top end, like kind of bureaucracy. They're Bahamians, so they know how to kind of work on the ground, etc. So that's you know, and I think they have a GoFundMe page or whatever too.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Well, we'll have to take that one offline, but I like the idea.
Yeah,
See,
yeah.
this is what happens here in Eleuthera. You just make the magic happen.
Yeah.
So we're gonna do a crypto event on January 7th. Tentatively, we might move it to the 9th. Check the website crypto-cares.com, and that'll take you to the page that gives you all the info. But basically, it's free education, free Bitcoin, free live music for everybody, and then we'll videotape it all. And then we're also going to do interviews with a lot of the different locals and get a different perspective. Of course, we'll be talking with a lot of the charities. I want to hear about more details and share them with you about what Ryan's doing. And basically,
the reason I laughed at the locals is that like a lot of the guys in Gregorytown are total drunks. The little town where we're near. So I was just like, I just picture.
Not sure this is like selling the event.
I just picture you like interviewing one of these guys or something.
No, I want to. I'm going to talk with some of the displaced people from Abaco. I'm going to talk with some of the organizers.
Some of them, a lot of them
charity.
have moved here. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So I was getting some input on that, and anything else that really comes up that's interesting. But the objective is to show that the crypto community can give back. We believe in that kind of thing, and I've always been really interested in that, which is why I believe that Connie Glippy, my oldest Bitcoin charity friend, I believe they're going to be partnering with us on that, so I'm super excited. We've got Dust Aid, which is a London organization. They're also partnering with us. We've got Disruptive PR out in the UK. And
well, also one thing you should note is that the Bahamas has exchange controls, right? So if you wanted to move your money and say get a brokerage account in the States to trade stocks, something like that, it's I think it's a 20% tax.
Oh, really?
So investing in Bitcoin is kind of a way too, and cryptocurrencies, because it is also an offshore tax haven at the same time,
right?
Is kind of maybe a way for locals to get around and invest in something that's not just, really if you're local and you don't want to pay that tax, you kind of got to invest locally. There's a small stock market, but the stocks are very illiquid, right? And most people do real estate here. There was actually one thing why Bahamians, even though the Bahamas was hard hit by the financial crisis, because if you had a second home in the Bahamas and you lost everything in 2008, the first thing you're selling is that, right? To get some cash. But on the other hand, the locals weren't as hard hit because most of them owned, say, some small real estate locally. They didn't own the U.S. stock market. They didn't own anything in the U.S. But Bitcoin is and cryptos are in a unique way for people to kind of, I don't want to say anything bad about the government, but get around exchange controls and that sort of thing.
Well, follow your local laws, but that's an interesting concept.
Well, as long as they don't consider that moving money out of the country, it is legal, right?
Right.
I'd have to look into that.
Okay, well, we'll get more details if you guys want to know, and you're Bahamian watching this, you can come to our event. So I want to make sure that I'm giving love to all the different people that are already agreeing. So I just want to give a shout out to Lisa Loud out there from 1110, and then I've also got Erin Nakamoto / Kingsley Edwards over at the Flow app. And I don't know, there's a whole bunch of different people that are going to be supporting it. So if you guys are watching this video and you want to either attend, the event is free for locals. There's a suggested donation for people from the crypto community coming down that'll go towards some of the efforts that we're putting on here. But then, I don't know. Well, you can also sponsor the event.
We'll talk about it off camera, but I'll probably get my newsletter to sponsor it.
I like that idea.
There you go. And actually, my new book, which is going to come out next summer, actually, I have a whole chapter on cryptos.
Oh, okay, cool. So tell me a little bit more about your background exactly. Like, why are you writing all this stuff? How do you know about all this finance? And
so, like,
how did you go off the grid? You know, what made you do that? Was there any kind of like...
We'll start from like day one. Okay. So I actually was weird because... Not that I'm normal now, but it was really weird when I was a kid that I really got into, we were talking about libertarianism, is that when I was a teenager, my dad had this little booklet. It was called Plague of the Black Debt. It was by a guy named James Dale Davidson, who wrote The Great Reckoning, which was like a best-selling book back in the 90s. Anyhow, and it was about how all these Western governments were going to go bankrupt. And here we are 20 years later, and they still haven't, even though the debts have like exploded, right? But anyhow, so I got into that, and this is way pre-crypto because we're talking mid-90s. I'm showing my age a little bit, but anyhow, so then I read The Great Reckoning. I read a bunch of Doug Casey's books as well. So I really got into gold and precious metals and
We love you, Doug Casey.
Yeah, Doug knows who I am too. So
Cool.
Not as well as you, but yeah. So, but anyway, I really got into libertarianism and gold and precious metal investing, and in the late '90s, I was convinced that the whole tech boom was like a bubble, and this was kind of the end of the stock market bubble at the time. So I wrote a book called Stock Market Panic, and then I was only like 21, 22 at the time. This is 98, 99. I had it published. And then I started like doing the investment conferences, and that went well. I had a couple deals do very well because I was investing in junior mining companies, and when gold went from 250 to over 1,000, and then in 2005 I decided to move to the Bahamas. I actually always wanted to get out of Canada because of the taxes and weather. In Toronto, it's a lot nicer here in Toronto in December. So then I moved to the Bahamas, and then I didn't want to live in Nassau. I'm from a small town, so that I started going to the Out Islands, and this was my favorite one. So I bought a place here, and
Can people just normally so say people come to this island and they come to our event, can anybody just buy land easily, or how does that work?
it's the land a lot. It takes a long time here. The lawyers really run it. It's you got to prove you have the title. But yeah, like for example, on Eleuthera Island Shores where I live, which is kind of like on a surfing beach, it's kind of rustic there, and the land is really cheap. You can buy a lot, and I'm not oceanfront. I'm Keltop, right? But because the island is so thin, I got the view of both oceans.
Oh, okay,
right?
Cool.
So so I can watch the sunrise, sunset, right? And anyhow, there you can get lots for 10 grand, 20 grand, and then you build on it. And actually, the best thing to build in that area are these little surfer domes. You make them out of concrete. So a small one, if you just wanted a small little kind of hippie shack, a couple hundred square feet or whatever, they only cost like 10 or 20 grand to build. And then a larger one even only costs 70 or 80 grand, right? So, and these are all made of concrete, and they're like circular. I have a real house. I
know, because I saw one of those dome houses. I think they're super cool, but I'm thinking, how does the Bahamas, there's a lot of places in the Caribbean that are kind of tax havens. How does it stack up as a tax haven compared to other places in the area?
Well, there's no income tax, right? So, and we talked about this again when we met that night. I'm Canadian, so I became a non-resident, did it all totally legally. So I'm living down here, paying no taxes, totally legally. Americans are taxed on your citizenship. So I think if you become a non-resident, there's two factors of this. Number one, if you become a non-resident in the States, only the first 100,000 is tax-free. Number two, I think you got to be outside of the States, 310 of whatever 100 and whatever days in the year, and then as a Canadian, I only have to be outside of Canada half the year, and I'm just totally tax free. I don't get the Canadian healthcare and all that stuff, but I don't pay any income tax. I don't have to pay Canadian pension stuff. That's it, and it's all legal. So that's why you find they call them tax refugees. A lot of Canadians who have money, you'll find them in the Bahamas or Barbados. A lot of the things about those places too is that they're British, or they were British, so they have the common law, the same legal system as Canada, because we're on common law. The U.S. again isn't, right? But so and they're English speaking. So the Bahamas, like I said, has no income tax, but it's got really high duties. So stuff here is expensive. It's an island, so everything's got so you got the cost of importing plus the duties on top of it. So the cost of living is more expensive. But I worked it out, and I figured you don't have to be super rich. If you're making say $100 grand a year, you're still better off here than Canada, because the amount of income tax you're paying. Maybe your grocery bill and some of your local expenses, this and that, are going to end up costing you 10 grand, 20 grand more. But in Canada, if you make...
What percentage more would you say? But Canada's cheap. That's the thing. To me, in New York, maybe some stuff is about 10, 15% more expensive or on par with New York pricing. But Canada, you guys have that exchange rate that's not as favorable as us.
Yeah, but Canada stuff is more expensive when you're actually there. Because everything... Because especially in the winter... stuff has to be imported because it's so cold there, right? And then when the exchange rate goes down, we import most of the stuff from the States. So then the price is going to go up as well, right? So, and the real estate in Canada is ridiculous now. We have a housing bubble in Canada.
Well, I think that's in a lot of different places.
Well, Toronto...
Is there a housing bubble in Eleuthera or no?
No,
All right.
it's-
See you guys. Come on down. You could get like a tour of the land.
I'll tell you this. I bought my house in Eleuthera for about $350, and this is when the Canadian dollar was par. So, and I was selling Canadian investments to do it, so it was perfect. Now at 75 cents, boom, I made 30% in Canadian dollars just from that, and it's strengthened a little bit here, but it's not like crazy. Like in Toronto, a dump is $1.2 million.
Oh wow.
And Vancouver and Toronto are like San Francisco prices.
Oh wow.
So
okay.
so that's another thing too. You factor that into the cost of living. Okay, you can get cheaper credit there, but it's like the real estate there. I laugh because I'm like, okay, maybe my house has gone from $350 to $450, right? But I'm like, and $450 in Toronto gets you like dump, like a total dump, or a little
and you're
studio.
living, not far from the beach. You've got the views, and I don't know, guys. I go to a lot of different places, and something I noticed is that this place, there's something where you really actually fall in love with the island. It's an unnerving feeling almost, because you're like, okay. But every time I look out onto the water, my eyes are like, holy cannoli. I'm so impressed with everything. I mean, the camera does nothing, no justice. Actually, but you know what?
Well, what's unique about Eleuthera
Look
too,
at that.
it showed
See,
the water.
we're over at the Cove, by the way. This is a cool local venue.
Yeah, this is a really nice resort.
Yeah, beautiful resort.
And another thing
Very
that makes
close to where
Eleuthera-
the event is. So if you want to spend your Satoshis, this is a good place to get like a high-end experience. Or you can rent a place. Actually, some of the apartments you can rent for $100 for one bedroom a night during the event. So it's not outrageous.
Well, another thing that's changed the island is Airbnbs, because, like you said before, you had this. There's only a handful of resorts, and then most of them are smaller. This is probably the biggest resort on Eleuthera on Harbor Island. I think there's 64 rooms here.
Okay.
And most of the resorts are small boutique, 15, 20 rooms. And so, but also makes it unique is that that's the Caribbean. Usually it's flatter than that. We just had a front come through from the west blowing east. Usually the wind goes east to west. But anyhow, so this is where the water's usually turquoise and pretty. And then the other side is the Atlantic. So you have these two oceans that meet, like right here, like nowhere else in the world's like that. Usually you're in the Caribbean or the Atlantic's there. If like you're in Florida, like you're in Miami, it's just the Atlantic. Maybe in the Keys is a bit of the, So, and it has that crystal clear water because of all the reefs. So like where you are in Oleander, on a flat day, on low tide, you can walk out like half a mile or something.
You're not afraid, buddy.
Sorry. You can walk out half a mile.
Okay,
And,
so no, it's really nice. There's so many beautiful beaches, and what I
So
really
I'm trying
like,
to point to the ocean. That's what I'm.
Yeah, well, one of the things that I like about it is that the beaches are pretty abandoned. Like you can see people if you want to go and see people at certain beaches. I think like Surfers Beach has a lot of people comparatively.
That's
but
where I live.
Golden Key has nothing over there. It's like so beautiful.
Even Surfers Beach, I walk it 4 or 5 times a week. I live over there. If you go to my Periscope, I'm just David Skarica on Twitter. You'll see my Periscopes. I do videos from there all the time and just talk about the markets or whatever from the beach. And usually there's like 3 people on Surfers Beach. It's not like,
Yeah, I guess that's considered a lot. I went there once and there were like 20 people there. I thought that was a fair amount of people.
That could be during the high season when a lot of the surfers are here.
Okay.
Yeah. But
This is supposed to be some of the best surfing in the world, I've heard. Which, don't tell your friends, guys. We're trying to keep it a secret.
On the East Coast, for sure. A lot of surfer guys from Carolinas or Florida, they'll get little places here, like I said, especially in that area where I'm from, and they'll build a little shack. And because in the Caribbean you don't have much surfing, especially on the East Coast too. Most of it's on the West Coast. And the thing about surfing here is the water is warm.
Yeah, it's a lot nicer, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, if you're surfing in California, that water, the Pacific is freezing, or Chile or Peru or someplace.
Right. So you said that sometimes you do market update videos. What do you think of the markets right now? Any thoughts on what's going on?
I wasn't okay. So for a while I've thought we're in some kind of massive bubble or top, but this year I was actually pretty bullish because the problem is I'm a contrarian, and most of the people, and especially this summer, were agreeing with me on that. So I was like, there's probably nothing going to happen until the end of the year. But we just saw actually Trump talk about how I don't think there's going to be anything trade till after the election. And a lot of the market's gains were based on some kind of trade deal happening in China. And China's slowing anyhow, which is like negative for the global economy. So I actually think next year, when you get the combination of this volatility over the problems with trade, and it's going to be a close election no matter what. But if like someone like Elizabeth Warren wins for the Democrats, who's basically a socialist, right?
Pretty much any Democratic candidate is a socialist.
Biden's just nuts.
He's just like a wet
senile.
rag of doofusness. But I mean, none of them are
But
I mean, they're pretty hard left, all of them. There's not
Biden's
really
pretty-
a lot of moderation there.
Biden is like kind of a centrist though. Like out of all of them, you know.
Yeah, I don't
Like,
know, whatever. Forget
yeah,
that
yeah,
guy.
nah.
I don't like any of the presidential candidates.
Yeah, I don't
I'm
like
not,
him
like,
too, but I'm just
advocating for
saying, like, I think
anybody,
Biden would be the least scary, least scary for the
You
markets.
think? Okay.
Oh, yeah,
okay.
out
That's
of all of them.
interesting. All right.
But like all the rest of them are disasters. Sanders, Warren. So I think you'll have that kind of like combination of people now. I don't think anything in trade's going to happen, and Trump's also like I'm a libertarian. Trump's maxing out the credit card, right? There's a $1 trillion deficit. He's increased military spending. He's like, cut corporate taxes, which I don't mind the corporate tax part.
Corporate tax part is okay,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
if you're spending still, that's not necessarily great.
See, and a lot of the GDP calculation
Maybe it is. I don't know.
deficit spending and government spending. So he juiced the GDP by increasing government spending. So I think he's maxing out the credit card, and then the Democrats are wackos. Like you got Yang who wants to give people $1,000 a month.
Well, that's never going to happen.
Yeah, and
like what I find hilarious about that is that they have a hat that says math.
so they're all socialists. They don't want and what's crazy about them being socialists too, I should get into this, is I'm from Canada where we have an idiot prime minister and he's a socialist. Basically, he's a liberal.
By the way, not everyone will force you to listen to political talk if you come to this event.
Yeah.
We're not gonna
Anyhow,
do that. But anyway, for now we will.
What's crazy to me about the Democratic candidates, they're further left than a lot of the socialists in Canada, and Canada's always been seen as being more to the left in the States, right?
Yeah.
But in our, for example, the election we just had, no one was talking about a universal basic income, right? Even in Canada, right? So
It's not feasible.
yeah, well, it's not feasible. Like, okay, the current budget.
Why not $1 million?
Well, the budget in the United States is everything: Social Security, defense, like every interest is about just over $4 trillion. Giving everyone an adult $1,000 a month is $3 trillion. That's 75% of the budget. And see, I'm actually not totally against that, and I'll tell you why. But I think that if you just gave all the adults $1,000 a month, but you have to get rid of everything. You get rid of Social Security.
Yeah, well, they'll never get
Yeah.
rid of everything. If they did that, there is an argument to be made that
And
is
if you want-
semi-worthwhile, although taxation is theft and I don't care what you're
If
giving
you want
it
to be a
people for.
bum and live off your $12,000 a year and smoke weed and just get drunk all day, fine, right?
I don't like paying for that.
But
I just don't. But but if you took out all the other social programs, giving people money in their pocket would be much more useful and a
Yeah.
lot less overhead than
Well, that's what I was gonna tell
filtering it through, right?
Well, that's the bureaucracy, right? Because what will happen is, right now you have all these bureaucrats who work for the government. Well, if everyone just got $1,000 a month and there was nothing else, again, no Social Security, no Medicare, no Medicaid, nothing else, all you'd have to do is press a button and everyone gets their $1,000 in the first of the month, and that's it. And you could probably fire 90% of the people who work for the government, but they want to do that on top.
But then they'll all be unemployed on top of it.
Well, and
Well,
what's-
he says he's going to get rid of all those in towns. He'll never, in a bajillion years, first of all, be elected. Second of all, ever get that done, even if he was elected. It's impossible. Completely preposterous fantasy.
And here's the thing that makes it really stupid is the way he's
Sorry, Yang Gang.
how he's going to pay for it is he's going to introduce probably a national sales tax. Well, who does a sales tax hurt the most? It's the poor people.
Yeah.
Because that's on groceries, that's on basic
saying
goods.
in frame, my
sorry.
friend. Yeah.
That's on. Sorry, you got to yell at me. But that's on groceries. That's on basic goods. That's poor people that have to pay that. So all you're going to do is give them $1,000 a month, and then they're just going to spend that on their in taxes on their grocery bill or clothes or basic stuff they have to buy. Like they put a VAT here in the Bahamas because there's no income tax, and the government did need a way to generate a little bit of revenue. But actually, I have to say, in fairness to them, on that VAT, they like basic goods. Like if you're just buying milk or cheese, that's not included in it, right?
Yeah, but some people will make the case that is the only fair taxes on sales tax and then eliminate all the other taxes.
What I would like to
But
see,
in the U.S., you can't even get close to that because you have like $1 billion taxes, and then you also would increase the sales tax, which would be what he's proposing.
well,
I
see,
guess I don't know.
the VAT in the Bahamas.
I don't pay attention to politics so much.
The VAT in the
anymore.
Bahamas, just to get back to here, if people are interested in moving here because there's no income tax, it's 12%. I would actually like them to move it to 20%. And people go, why would you do that? Because then if they do that, they could probably get rid of all the duties. Which again would make, because when you go to the dock here and you have to import stuff, because again, it is an island.
Yeah, you know what? You would save a lot more actually that way.
Like you want to import a car is like a 45% duty here. And it's a pain in the ass. You got to figure it out. You got to work it out. Where if it's just like, okay, they put the 20% VAT on anything that came in, that's just a lot easier too, right?
Yeah, much less administrative burden.
But the governments like them. That's how they.
Well, that's how they create jobs.
Yeah, they for themselves.
And then when they have the jobs like government employees, then they're not going to vote them out. So,
well, look at what the voting in DC is like. It's like 93% Democrat or whatever because that's who wants to employ them.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. Politics aside, we should probably start wrapping, but is there anything else that we want to talk about with people?
Well, anyhow, in terms of your conference, the thing about here, it's very cool. If you're someone who is laid back, first of all, there's never any traffic here. That's one of the great things, right? The air, all that stuff is perfect. There's all these awesome beaches like she was talking about.
Every day you look out onto heaven.
Maybe we'll do a party at my house too. I'm renovating my house right now, so
perfect. Let's make it happen.
I got a hot tub, so
Yeah, we're gonna get my mom to give him some decorating advice while allowing for 80s sports.
Yeah, I still dress like Don Johnson, so like I need some advice. Yeah.
Yeah, I put David into my phone as Dave Miami Vice because he had a white suit on the other day.
Okay, can you do those things where you have like a ringtone for a specific person?
Yeah.
You should put like the Miami Vice theme on.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna do that one. All right, there you go. I like this. Yeah. All right, so why don't you plug some links and stuff?
Okay, so addictedtoprofits.net is my website. I'm actually setting up a different service. Actually, this is something. Well,
I'm still talking to you, but I want to read to the audience what's like the information.
I'm springing this on you right now.
All right, let's see how this
something
goes.
You could probably
Seems
help me
slightly
with.
scary. Go ahead.
I actually have another service I'm going to start. It's kind of going to be kind of like a mixture of like travel, lifestyle, investment, and it's called Profiting from Paradise. So it's actually going to be about how you can move to a place like this, make money either working online or maybe starting a small local business, something like that. And so you can kind of get out of the rat race and move away. Because when I meet tourists and just bump into my places like this, they're always like, how can you move here? And I was like, well, I run an investment newsletter online. So that's how, and most people can't, right? Most people have to go to a job.
Yeah, I love working from home. It's amazing. Yeah. I can stay here for a month if I want, and as long as I've got my laptop, I'm good.
Yeah, and you have flexible hours. Because being a writer, sometimes I stay up to 3 a.m. writing and get up at 10, or sometimes I, go to bed at 9 and wake up at 5. So you're flexible too, right? You don't have to be in a rigid kind of lifestyle, especially here where things are kind of laissez-faire and laid back.
It's definitely a chill vibe here, that's for sure.
Yeah, and there's nothing going on a lot of the time, but then boom, all of a sudden something is going on, and you can, being like working for yourself, you can adjust, your schedule around it. And again, what also makes this island unique, and people want to come, there's other island called Harbor Island, which is totally different from here. It's kind of like a mini city. And
that's where Ryan is in his cocoa coffee place.
And it's like lifestyle, the rich and famous there. Like Uma Thurman has a place there. Helena Christensen, the famous model, she was just there. And so those are the kind of people that live in Ireland. They got this pink sand beach that is actually pink. And it's one of the famous beaches in the world. They do like swimsuit, shoots there.
Maybe I'll go there before the end of the week. And maybe if you come to this little shindig, you guys can also see the famous pink sand beach and Uma Thurman.
Okay, I'm gonna maybe we'll do
and Helena Christensen.
Maybe we'll do a quick 2-minute video from there. I'll take you to Sip Sips. It's a great restaurant.
If I have to go to a great restaurant on a beautiful pink sand beach, part of the job.
They have a lobster quesadilla twice the size of your head.
I don't need any seafood.
Oh God!
I know.
It's the greatest thing ever. The lobster.
Listen, if you guys like seafood, people are literally just catching the fish and eating them 10 minutes
vegan?
later. No, I
Thank
eat
God.
lots of. No, let's not get crazy.
Sorry.
Well, no, our friends
listeners.
over at Float are vegans. They're my vegan buddies. And you know what? I'll tell you something. Erin Nakamoto, one of our helpers on the conference, good friend of mine.
God, I should have said it.
No. I mean, I make fun of them all the time. But I'll tell you, she made some good stuff, vegan stuff. She's, I'm not going to go vegan, but there are a couple options that she made that were tasty.
I like buffalo mozzarella too much.
Well, sorry guys, no buffalo mozzarella if you're vegan, but you can have all sorts of good stuff. Actually, we're probably gonna have some lunch here at the Cove, where they have also really nice food.
Yeah, the thing about the Cove, and when you're here, is because the island is small. This is where you go to get sushi. It's Sydney. I'll give you one. Let me finish on this note.
Sure.
This is the background of this resort. It's a pretty cool story. So, a guy named Sidney Torres. He's really famous from New Orleans. Mm-hmm. He had a waste disposal company in New Orleans, and he cleaned up New Orleans after Katrina. Mm-hmm. And I think he got a big government contract, right? And then, of course, that helped the company out, and he sold off the company. Then he came here. He actually used to work for Lenny Kravitz, the famous musician, who has a place here in Eleuthera.
Yep,
you know.
just a little bit.
It's just
away.
up. Lenny probably doesn't want us to tell you that, but it's just up the road.
Oh, let's not try and torture the guy.
Yeah,
he
yeah.
lives very far away from here. But
And the locals,
it's-
like I met Lenny, but no one cares about him here. If you're locally, it's like, hey, how you doing? That's it, right?
Yeah.
But anyhow, so Sydney, this resort got basically destroyed after Hurricane Irene, 2011. Sydney bought it for like nothing, renovated it, like built it up, sold it off. He actually has a show on CNBC called The Deed, and that's what he's done for a living. He's always like taken like beater houses, renovated them, and flipped them, right?
Really?
Yeah, that's what Sydney has done for a living, right? So
He has a TV show?
yeah, called The Deed. Yeah,
Is it on now?
yeah, it's on CNBC. I don't know if it's on right at this instant, but
No, but
it's-
I mean, that's interesting. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. I'm going to check that out.
yeah. So
This is a pretty legend place.
yeah, so he did this, and then he just sold it off, and that's how this place came. Because I was here right before Irene. I only went here one time, and it was nowhere near as nice as it is now. Like I would say it was probably like a 3-star resort. Now it's like 4 to 5, right?
Right.
You know, so and for your conference, it's literally right down the road. And actually, if you had people write me, I know a lot of rentals and people who have rentals.
Oh,
and
that's
I'm making
awesome.
no money off that, just so you know.
Right.
I'm just,
Oh,
I'm
that's
just
well.
giving-
It's very nice
Yeah.
of you to offer, and I think that the bear market's been rough. I'd really love to see people. That's why. So I'm asking people to donate $250 as an individual to come
Okay.
down. But if you're really super poor and you really want to come down, like call me. We can think of some kind of a trade or something. I just want to see people come down. The hotels that I've been seeing in the 1-bedroom apartments and rentals are like $100 a night. It's not crazy.
Yeah.
You can stay here. I was Googling this. It was $350 a night. I don't know if it'll still be that, but during the time. So it's not, outrageous, but it depends on what you want. You can live really well for $100 a night too.
Perfect example is right, virtually, like you could walk to the conference there. My friend has a house on the cliff.
Well, it's not quite a conference.
A conference or whatever, musical event,
Sure.
fun, whatever.
Okay, good.
But it's like you could walk
Conference
there.
sounds so serious.
I would say it's a 10-minute walk, right?
Oh, cool.
And he's got this awesome house on the cliff. I think he rents it out for $500 a night, but it's like 3-4 bedrooms.
Mm-hmm.
So you could have, if you knew a few people, you could have 4 or
Sure.
5 people staying there, paying $100 each. And I'm telling you, it's like, he's got a deck overhanging the cliff.
Oh, wow.
It's like amazing.
He likes to live on the edge.
Yeah, literally. And actually, when a hurricane hits the water, but this is hurricane season is done, so not to worry about that.
Yeah, we're all good, and I'm sure it's going to be miserable wherever you are in January.
Quickly to get back to the markets, because I'm going full circle. 'cause we
Full
didn't-
circle, guys.
Okay, because I remember we kind of got off a tangent there. Maybe my ADD was kicking in, but but anyhow, so with the markets, I think next year, as I said, because either socialist, fear over that, trade thing's not really working out, or whatever the case may be.
How's Hong Kong?
Hong Kong. I think
So destabilizing.
the economy is slowing. We're 11 years into expansion, and recessions usually happen every 10 years.
God, Trump must be so stressed out all the time.
So, like, that's not even against Trump. Like, actually, I think we would.
It isn't against
I think
Trump,
if it wasn't for Trump, we already be in a recession, because a lot of like the corporate tax reform, expanding the deficit, actually helped short term.
Yeah.
So anyhow, if and you have that kind of animal spirits thing, because like most of the people I know that like Trump tend to be more entrepreneurial, etc. Right? And I'm like not saying either way if it's good or bad, but in terms of him. But anyhow,
I think like we would say he's probably a mixed bag.
it is a mixed bag, yeah.
Yeah.
But if there is a slowing of the economy and a recession, that means the Fed is going to have to keep dropping rates and print money. And I'm more of a precious metal guy than a crypto guy, but I think that will be good for both, right?
Yeah.
Because it's printing more fiat. It's good for cryptos. It's good for precious metals. I personally think, and you're more of a crypto person than me, I'm invested in a few, the next wave in a lot of these cryptos will be asset-backed crypto, stuff backed by maybe a mining asset or real estate asset or stuff like that, rather than just...
What do you think? My co-host is Josh Shigala from Voltoro, and they do a gold and Bitcoin exchange.
Oh, I think that will work great.
Well, they've been doing it for a long time. They just raised on Bank to the Future, and God, I love those guys. So maybe I can introduce you guys at some point. Josh is like really legit. A lot of people try and do that, and they have varying levels, but he's OG.
It's tough because like if you link it to the gold price somehow, you're going to limit like the volatility.
So it's not a gold-backed token, although
Okay.
I think that they're implementing something like that as well because it allows for more transferability of gold.
But up until now, they were doing, you can keep your money in Bitcoin, you keep it in allocated gold, stored in a vault, not, some paper representation. But now they're going to be going into the future with those kinds of tokens because he was explaining to me on one of the shows about how the gold is easier to be transferred because you have a tokenization aspect. So it did seem to have some advantages. I don't want to speak for him, but interesting stuff.
One of the, we should end off here soon, but one of the tokens I invested in, they have a real estate backing, and they have like a note,
like a REIT.
Kind of like
REIT,
a REIT,
yeah. Okay.
And they have like a bank note backing it up. But it's same thing. It's kind of easier because instead of setting up a brokerage account and getting interest on the bank note, it's say you own 100 tokens, just to make it easier. Say the note pays 6%, they just give you 6 tokens every year, on top of the 100 that you own. Mm-hmm. So the tokenization does make a lot of stuff easier. See what happened in the crypto bubble. It reminded me a lot of the .com bubble. It's like the Wild West in the early days. Mm-hmm. Just stupid ideas. You have some scammers. You have stuff going totally crazy and volatile. It wasn't really regulated. So now I think the second phase of the bull market is going to be a lot more probably sustainable and a lot more longer term. And you're going to attract a lot more real people rather than some of the guys looking just to pump something or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So, and you are getting more institutional money into it too,
Constantly, all that stuff is growing. Anywho, all right, so what are your links?
Okay, so addictedtoprofits.net. I'm setting up Profiting from Paradise right now, and I'm David Skarica on YouTube.
And we'll have all the links, and just one more time, guys, the event is crypto-cares.com. And so far, we have confirmed Crypto Media Hub, my marketing company, we're putting on the event. 1110 Consulting, Disruptive PR, the Flow app, BitGive, DustAid, Bitcoin Magazine is our partner. Of course, my friends at LTB Network, where you're probably listening to this podcast. Sonic Scoop, which does music, news, so it's kind of cool. We've got a little music crossover. We've got Bytes Bahamas, Harness AP. Rhonda hooked me up with some really nice people here. You can check out her on the Tatiana Show, Rhonda Eldridge, talking about her event. She did a hackathon in Nassau. We've got the Bahamas Plastic Movement and Token FM, my music blockchain platform, and of course our friends over at Soho Muse. Hey, Consuelo.
That's a lot of sponsors, man.
Well, we've got partners. We need money, but, I got a lot of people that support the event. And that's the thing. We are looking for title sponsors. We do need cash to actually put on the event. And, of course, for donations. But if you can't do that and you just want to, even share this with your friends, that costs nothing. Donate some air miles. Help us brainstorm or tell a news outlet about this event. Anything would be awesome. We would love to see you here. Totally affordable. Reach out to me, Tatiana at cryptomediahub.com directly. And thank you for listening to The Tatiana Show. Go to thetatianashow.com for more information. And the show airs on Tuesdays. I'm also going to be doing an interview with Dave for Proof of Love. So Proof of Love. It's okay. We're hanging here. Yeah. Proofoflovecast.com. And that'll be out, I don't know, in a few weeks or so. We'll see. That'll be a little bit scandalous. So this will be a little bit more tame. If this didn't seem tame to you, buckle your safety belts.
It's about what it's like to be single here on an island like this. So.
Yeah, well, we had a great episode recently with Leah from Celsius, who's actually a supporter of this show and Proof of Love. That's not why I invited her, though. I just really like Leah. We get along. And so, yeah, she was talking about dating on the road, laying down some laws. And so you could tell us dating on an island, which...
has
some challenges. We're going to get into that.
Yeah. And I have a bit of a reputation here. We'll talk about that in the next...
Yeah, we're not going to talk about that this time. Well, we love you guys. Hope you enjoyed this video. We'll talk to you soon. Oh, or podcast version. We'll see. Bye.
Okay, thanks.
It's time for the show, the Tatiana Show, where you make friends and talk life and crypto. We gotta think and reflect and use lots of intellect with our hearts when we work together. I know that it can be so hard out there, looking all around and saying that life ain't fair. So that is why we will fight and stay up late at night, listening to the Tatiana Show. Thank you for listening to the Tatiana Show. Please follow us on Twitter at Queen Tatiana or on Facebook and Instagram at Tatiana Moroz Music. More episodes can be found at thetatianashow.com, and make sure you leave a review on iTunes and tell your friends. What's the point of all this technology without a little love in our lives? Our hosts, Tatiana Moroz, Dr. Stephanie Murphy, and Lauren Kasovitz, have come together to bring you Proof of Love. Go to proofoflovecast.com. The Tatiana Show has been brought to you by CryptoMediaHub.com, a boutique marketing and PR agency for Bitcoin and beyond.